How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all doing well, and as of today, I've pretty much finished my review process of the iPhone 11 Pro, which is going to be my next iPhone review. However, I do still need to test the camera. So what I thought would be a really fun video is if we took out my current daily driver, which is the iPhone 12, and compared it to the iPhone 11 Pro, seeing as this thing was the flagship last year. So I want to see if Apple's non-flagship current phone is actually better than their previous year's flagship. So yeah, I think we're going to start this out by going to take some photos. Well, I was about to go film this video, then it started raining. It's always the case. Alright, so as it would turn out, the rain has now stopped. And first of all, we're going to test out the landscape mode. So we're going to be testing the ultra-wide and the wide lens. And just look for things like dynamic range, sharpness, saturation, all that good stuff. And yeah, this is going to be fun. I actually did already shoot the portrait mode thing while I was waiting for the rain to stop. But anyway, ready now to get started, and this is going to be fun. So the thing about shooting landscapes on these two iPhones is that the iPhone 11 actually brought in a ultra-wide camera, as I'm sure most of you were aware. And to be totally honest, I wasn't crazy about it. I personally much prefer telephoto still to this day, but if there is one area where ultra-wide certainly shines, it is in landscapes. Okay, so first of all, we're going to be trying out the ultra-wide. We're just going to, and boop. So this is the iPhone 11 Pro in the ultra-wide camera, and we're going to try to get a nice wide shot. Oh, fucking live photos. Alright, so now let's try out the iPhone 12. Okay, so as usual, we're going to be looking at all the photos in one big lump later on, so I actually get the chance to go home and actually look at the photos. But yeah, let's go take another landscape to test out the standard wide camera. Whoa. I totally wasn't looking at the screen. I don't even know if I'm going to put that in, because it might not even be usable. Oh, it is so cold. I actually cannot vlog at the moment. This is just too windy. My audio is gonna suck. I'm gonna go take some more photos, but instead of me filming it all, let's just have a B-roll sequence. Wow, that was windy. Okay, I got a decent amount of photos. I'm probably still gonna go get more. It was just too windy, and this time of year kind of sucks for photography anyway. I'm gonna take a few indoor photos now. That should be more fun. In fact, let's go check out the portrait mode. Okay, I guess while we're waiting for the wind to stop, we might as well test the portrait mode. So, as some of you may know, the iPhone 12 decided to have two lenses. However, the iPhone 11 Pro has three. So this can actually shoot portrait mode in two different modes. It can use both the wide angle and the telephoto, not the ultra wide though. Whereas this iPhone 12 non-Pro can only use portrait mode in the wide angle mode, which I personally don't think looks quite as good. Now, as I said before, I was a huge fan of the telephoto lens on my previous iPhone 10 and 10s. So let's see what this is like. Okay, so we got this nice little plant here. We got some interesting things to take photos of. Just gonna load up the camera, change to portrait mode. Gonna try to get one of this blue flower. Need to move further away. We'll do this then. Now we're gonna try the telephoto mode. Nice, okay. Oh, that's one thing I really don't like about portrait mode. I don't like how far away you have to get. Something really cool that I'd like to see in the future is like a macro portrait mode. That would be awesome. But anyway, let's go take a look at the iPhone 12's performance. Same again, switch it to portrait mode. Now, something I did actually notice when I was reviewing the iPhone 12 is that the portrait mode on this thing is really good. Like, it is dead on accurate with the blur. Dynamic range is great. But yeah, gonna take a look at both and see which is better. Time to wait like 4 hours. Just to clarify, I'm not gonna wait 4 hours. I'm actually gonna go do the landscape test after this once it's stopped raining. But that's the magic of editing, I suppose. Next, let's take a look at the night mode. So, as you may be able to see, It is now quite dark. I've got my ISO like cranked, the autofocus is barely working. And now we're gonna actually test the low light modes on each of these cameras. So I'm actually gonna turn off that light back there, and we're gonna try to get a shot with the available light. Now, each of these phones actually operates differently. With the iPhone 11 Pro, you don't get the night mode in the ultra-wide lens, but you do get it in the telephoto lens. On the iPhone 12, you actually get night mode on all of the cameras, which was a nice addition. Now, I did find that the selfie mode was actually a usable night mode, as well, of course, on the wide lens. However, I was kind of expecting that, but I didn't find the ultra-wide to be all that good, to be totally honest. I'll be interested to see how it actually performs on the telephoto lens of the iPhone 11 Pro. Anyway, let's go take some photos. And there we go. So this is how dark it is. If you can see how much noise there is in the frame, that should be a good indicator that it is incredibly dark. Start out with the iPhone 11 Pro. Next up, we got telephoto. Now, iPhone 12. Okay, that was incredibly difficult to stay still for that amount of time. Anyway, I'm gonna head outside now and take some more night mode photos. Then let's test out the video. Yuck. Good morning, everybody. The weather is horrible today. I figured before we take a look at the photos, we might as well test the video on these two cameras. Now, before we get into it, I do want to say I definitely think the iPhone 12 is going to win this round. Well, they did add the extended dynamic range video on the iPhone 11. With the iPhone 12, they actually added that Dolby HDR, which is awesome. So yeah, let's have a quick video test, then we'll take a look at the photos. Alright guys, so we're finally done with the tests now. That was a lot of fun. And now we're going to be taking a look at the photos, we're going to be taking a look at the videos, and we're going to be deciding which one of these two phones has the better camera system. So without further ado, let's take a look at the landscapes. In terms of sharpness, I'd honestly say these two phones are pretty much identical. Honestly, the iPhone 11 series cameras did come with a nice bump in sharpness. So yeah, realistically, they are about the same. And in my opinion, both look great. In terms of dynamic range, I did actually notice with this first ultra-wide shot of the field that the iPhone 12 did almost overcorrect the sky. Now, while this may have resulted in a slight blue tint in the sky here, generally this is a good thing because on brighter days, having that extra little bit of dynamic range in the highlights is awesome. To be completely honest, I really can't tell the difference here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I personally think the iPhone 11 Pro has excellent ultra-wide support. And again, granted, while there is a little bit of distortion around the edges, especially when you're looking at something like a tree, for the most part at least, taking landscape photos on the iPhone 11 Pro as well as the iPhone 12 is very nice. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the portrait mode. And for this one, honestly, I've got to give it to the iPhone 11 Pro. So portrait mode has certainly come a long way since it was first introduced. I mean, back then it was a little bit hit or miss. Sometimes the background would look totally off. And while that is still occasionally the case, that background blur is much more likely to hit rather than to miss nowadays. From looking at these photos closely, honestly, I do still think the iPhone 12 is a tad little bit more accurate. However, the iPhone 11 Pro comes with a massive advantage, and that's that you can use portrait mode on multiple focal lengths, so you can use it on both the standard wide angle and the telephoto. Again, this may not be that important for you, but I personally love the telephoto. Overall, I think the portrait mode kind of depends on what you want to take photos of and how you use your camera. If you purely use the wide angle and just want the most accurate results every time, then honestly, the iPhone 12 probably does take this category. However, again, as somebody who really likes the telephoto lens, I've got to personally just give this one to the iPhone 11 Pro. Following on from this, we're going to be talking about the night mode. Now, of course, a big addition to the iPhone 12 was that night mode now works on all cameras, including the selfie selfie camera. That alone is awesome. In general, I do prefer the look of the iPhone 12's night mode. I found that colors were better rendered, they were generally less noisy, and of course, again, we get that added bonus of night mode working on all the cameras. Now, that's not to say that it works well on all cameras. As I said before, I don't think the ultra-wide night mode is very good at all. However, the selfie mode night mode is very usable so long as you can stay still long enough. But that being said, you shouldn't dismiss the iPhone 11 Pro's night mode. Honestly, I think the telephoto night mode on the iPhone 11 Pro is better than the ultra-wide night mode on the iPhone 12. And while, again, it's not quite as good, I still think the iPhone 11 Pro's night mode is very usable. In terms of selfie mode, well, both take selfies in 12 megapixels. I mean, yeah, again, the iPhone 12 is slightly better here. Got that night mode again, but they're selfies, not much I can really test here. Okay, so finally, we're gonna be talking about the video mode on each of these phones. And honestly, this one surprised me a little bit. Going into this, I was fully expecting the iPhone 12 to completely mop the floor with the iPhone 11 Pro, purely because it had that Dolby Vision HDR. And again, the iPhone 12 was overall better. There were more accurate colors, better sharpening, and for the most part, capturing video on the iPhone 12 was just a better experience. I found the iPhone 12 to be noticeably better in 4K 60. Both colors and details stood out better on the iPhone 12 versus the iPhone 11 Pro. And again, while the iPhone 11 Pro is certainly very good, the iPhone 12 is just slightly better. Moving on to an area where things got seriously better for the iPhone 12, we have the front-facing video. Now again, while technically these are very similar on paper, I personally found the color science to be significantly nicer on the iPhone 12. Skin tones looked a lot nicer. I found there to be a little bit more dynamic range, and overall the image still looked sharper without going into like crazy aliasing territory. That said though, it's not all bad news for the iPhone 11 Pro. For one, of course you get that bonus flexibility of having a third focal point, and I noticed occasionally the iPhone 11 Pro would come out ahead in terms of dynamic range. Take for example this shot of the shed, we can see the sky is clearly exposed on the iPhone 11 Pro, whereas despite that Dolby Vision HDR, the iPhone 12 still blew out the sky. And again, while the iPhone 12 does most of the time have better dynamic range, iPhone 11 Pro certainly has its strengths. Anyway, so summing this video up, which of these two cameras is better, and which one do I like more? Well, honestly, for most people, the iPhone 12 is just better. Turns out I'm in the minority of people who prefer the telephoto lens. And so therefore, for most people, if you just need the ultra-wide and the wide camera, the iPhone 12 is better in pretty much every single way. But as I said before, I love that third focal length. I don't use the night mode in ultra-wide at all. And honestly, I had more fun taking photos with the iPhone 11 Pro. I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Which one is more fun to take photos with? And again, for me, it was the iPhone 11 Pro. All right, guys, so that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know, by the way, which do you prefer, telephoto or ultra-wide? Always like reading your comments. As for now, though, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.